Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel spoke at the 29th annual DOD National Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day Observance Program this morning at the Pentagon. DOD leaders and guests gathered in the Pentagon Auditorium to reflect on the accomplishments of the slain civil rights leader. Secretary Hagel, who was serving in Vietnam when Dr. King was assassinated, reflected on how much the Reverend did for civil rights.
And in the words of Dr. King, let us rise up with a greater readiness. Let us stand with a greater determination. And let us move on in these powerful days of challenge.
King never served in the military, but he commanded an army of Americans dedicated to fulfilling our country's highest ideals, that all men and women are created equal, an ideal forged in the heat of battle, here at home in the struggle for civil rights, and around the world in wars against tyranny and oppression.
For more on today's ceremony, you can head to defense.gov. Well, a Navy pilot is recovering after an F-18 Super Hornet crashed in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Virginia. Cameras caught emergency crews rushing the pilot into a Norfolk hospital yesterday afternoon. The pilot was able to eject from the aircraft and was rescued by a fishing vessel. He was based at Naval Air Station Oceana. Well, the United States is continuing to rebalance from Europe to the Asia-Pacific region. The commander of U.S. Pacific Command, Admiral Samuel Locklear, spoke at the Surface Navy Association Symposium yesterday and explained how important this region is to the prosperity of our country.
In this area are the largest countries in the world, most populated countries, China, India. There are the largest economies in the world. 3 of the 4 largest economies are in this part of the world. It is the economic engine that drives the world today. It is the economic engine. Over half of everything that moves on the surface of the earth generates out of the Indo-Asia Pacific, and that number is growing. So, you know, we always talk about, well, 90% of everything in the world flows on the surface by something, right? Well, that's true. That has been true for a long time. But what is changing is that over the last couple of decades, the amount of things in that 90% has quadrupled. So every big screen TV, everything that you can go to Walmart and walk down any aisle that pumps into the global economy flows in this part of the world.
Admiral Locklear also noted that every day more than half of the world's supplied energy flows through the South China Sea. Well, moving the stuff of the Army, material designated as part of the drawdown falls to the 101st Sustainment Brigade. According to the brigade commander, the challenge is Afghanistan.
The challenges are just the road conditions here in Afghanistan. I mean, the soldiers, they make it look easy, but it's difficult. I mean, every time a convoy rolls out, they're in harm's way with an IED or RPG or small arms attack. But they're willing to go out every day, they're courageous. And that's what gives me energy in life. The fact that they want to go out, they're enthusiastic about getting our equipment back, to put it back in the Army system. And they do make it look easy, but I tell you, it's really hard.
The 101st is the only sustainment brigade in Afghanistan at this time. Well, to remain mission ready, many pilots have to train at least once or twice a month. Airman First Class Lindsay Gulliver introduces us to one eager service member who is staying ahead of the curve at Aviano.
F-16 pilot Captain Brian Jet Musler has a very important mission ahead of him.
We will be flying into enemy territory, engaging Red fighters, and coming home safely.
But lucky for Captain Musler, this mission is 100% simulated, and he's flown it before.
We train once or twice a month. We either fly emergency procedures or we practice a tactical portion where we're engaging enemy aircraft.
This training helps pilots like Captain Musler perfect their skills while preparing them for all their future missions.
We can practice things that we can't otherwise do in the aircraft safely without burning gas or time in the air.
Airman First Class Lindsay Gulliver, Aviano Air Base, Italy.